Right. Wow. Guess who I'm with? I'm with Elizabeth Manley, my pal, my friend backstage at the rink as we go running through to see each other all the time. And here we are sitting down, and it took a pandemic to do it. I mean,
No
seriously.
kidding, eh? Oh, terrible, terrible.
How are you doing?
I'm good. Do you like my COVID shave job? I
Do
I
you know
I,
what?
I took
You and
all my
I
hair off.
you and I are both short hair girls,
I
but we
know.
every so often go to the long hair look, which also looks fantastic on you, I have to admit. And yet it always comes back to the short hair. I mean, there you are with the gorgeous long hair.
Ah,
So what people may not know, I mean, they of course know you as Olympic silver medalist from Calgary. They know you as one of the busiest people in showbiz, as I like to say, but they may not know that you're a philanthropist, you're a motivational speaker, and you have recently turned your attention to becoming a life coach
yeah.
and to dealing with issues of adult ADHD. So tell me a little bit about that transition.
Well, I have to. I'll kind of just start where it all became. But I went through, as everyone knows, in my skating career, I had a rough time as a teen, and I went through depression and things like that. And about 8 years ago, I found myself really struggling again, mentally, physically, everything. And it was a whole mixture of things. It was losing my parents, it was losing a marriage, it
Yep.
was losing all this stuff. And what ended up happening was I went to a life coach. And I can't even tell you, but I had one session. It was a friend of a friend, and I literally came out of her house and I sat on the curb and I cried for an hour. It impacted me so much. And during that session, because she's kind of like a mentor for me, she kept saying, "You would be the most amazing life coach, just with everything you've been through and all the stuff." Are you still there, PJ?
I sure am. I'm
Oh,
just
okay.
going on solo shots, so you have the whole thing. We were
Okay.
chit-chatting too much backstage for you to know this, my secret
Um,
trick.
okay. So I ended up, it was like something went off in my head. Now, I have been speaking for 20 years on mental health and doing all this charity work and, doing inspirational speaking, things like that. And I decided, you know what? This is something that really follows the path of my passion today. Now, my passion for skating was 50 years. I hate to say it was that long, but it was like, I love the speaking and I love working with people and I love helping people. And so I decided, you know what? I can't afford it, but I'm going to go and I'm going to sign up. And it was 13, 14 months of schooling, over almost 300 hours. And I completely got the highest certification for my life coaching. And it was interesting because every time I did the courses and every time I did, the weekends, because they were on weekends, and it'd be like 3 days long, I got more and more pumped and inspired with life. And it was everything that I want people to feel. It was everything that I try to do with my speaking. And so I continued it and I ended up getting my certification. I was so excited. And then I started thinking, what kind of directions? It's going to take me a while to build up clients and things like that. And I ended up coming across this company called Expert ADHD Coaching. And I was reading up on it and it just really kind of grabbed me because it's helping people, with things that they're struggling with. That's not them, it's their ADHD. So once again, I'm back, I'm schooling, I'm studying, and I became an expert coach in ADHD. So I'm now working as a expert coach for Expert ADHD Coaching company. So, and they're building me up. I've got tons of clients right now, and PJ, I can't even tell you, it's just wonderful. The experience. I'm already working with 5 clients, and I only started 2 weeks ago, and it's been really amazing. And it's kind of like this transition. I always heard this great term, graciously. When you leave a sport, graciously leave the sport. And it's not that I want to leave skating because I'll still be doing coaching. I'm coaching at Leaside and doing all this other stuff, but this is the path that I really, in my heart and my soul, feel like I was meant to be doing. And that's how I ended up doing this. So the website is on there. I see you scrolling things, but so if anybody, there's a lot of athletes that have ADHD. There's a lot of people that have it but don't get diagnosed. So if you sense that you're feeling these things, go to your doctor and get the testing and see if you are ADHD. But this organization is phenomenal. They trained me for months, and it's just been unbelievable to work with them. It's been fantastic.
So tell me, I mean, as a coach and as a former skater,
Mhm.
I'm thinking that some of the things that you're talking about in terms of life coaching and even in terms of addressing ADHD, that those were things that may already be in place for some coaches. Was that in place for you as a skater? And I'm going to go to a solo shot again, Liz, but I'm still here.
Okay. No, it was interesting because in 1983, when I finally got the diagnosis of depression and nervous breakdown and everything, there was little help out there. And if there was help, it was so expensive to go to because there was very few people that were in that ability to help people with depression and things like that. So I really, I mean, I got the help. Terry Orlick, who many athletes know is one of the best sports psychologists next to my favorite Peter Jensen. Um, you know, he embraced me and he worked with me because I really couldn't afford a psychiatrist in those days. But today I can honestly say to you, there's so much help out there. And what the life coaching part of it is it's not giving you medications, it's not telling you what to do, it's not doing this, but it's working with you to kind of find yourself again. So, me as a life coach, I will go deep and tears are welcomed and everything is welcome, but we go in deep and we draw out those feelings and we work out those feelings, and the client will always come up with an answer on how, they'll have those aha moments. With the ADHD company that I'm doing, what I love so much is I've got the tools. So I am coaching them, just like a figure skating coach. You learn a new move, you learn a spiral or spread eagle. I want you to work on that every single day for a week. It's the same with ADHD. I give them a tool, whether it's an organizational problem, a relationship problem, whatever it might be. I give them these tools and we set these goals. It's a longer journey with the ADHD because we're structuring it and we're trying to keep them on track. But the interesting thing about ADHD, and as I was reading, I kept thinking, I think I have it because like it just seemed like me, and I was very fascinated, and that's why I was attracted to it. And it's been not only amazing to help others, but it's been a huge learning experience for me. I've become, PJ, if you can imagine this, I've become very calm.
Well, it's interesting that the whole idea of ADHD, what people don't realize is that often one of the hallmarks is an ability to hyperfocus. And as an athlete, you
Yeah,
are able
we
to hyperfocus. Let's face
we
facts.
we
Um,
absolutely did. And there's a lot of athletes out there that that have it and don't even realize they have it, and
yeah,
they are living their lives trying to be like everyone else in the world. But with ADHD, it's that frontal cortex of the brain, that's organization, it's decision making, it's everything that's been affected. So it doesn't work like a person without ADHD. So it's really interesting because when I bring up things with my clients, they go, I'll say to them, this isn't you, this is your ADHD. So how do we work with this, right? And they kind of go, oh, like they forget that it's not them that's doing these, hyper focus, these, erratic decisions, these, all
impulse
these
control.
impulse controls, exactly.
Yep,
And so it's been really interesting because I think of my own life, and figure skaters were go 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 go, and
yep,
sometimes that hyper focus, we make erratic decisions, we make spontaneous decisions without thinking things through because we're so used to boom 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 boom, right? And we're trained that way. Okay,
yep, for sure.
get on the ice, go, and so it's almost like a balance in life. And it's interesting because my life coaching is working with people that mostly don't have ADHD. So I'm trying to balance their lives. And then I'm working with ADHD, which is a whole different thing. But in reality, it's very similar. It's balancing their life. It's making them, you know, um, the company I'm working with, we're being like on one focus. So just, try to narrow the focus to, simple things. Micromanage, not macromanage. You know what I mean?
I sure do. Well, Teddy
Yeah.
Katz, who is a world famous journalist, and actually he's working on something called the Resiliency Project, which feeds right into this. He's a big
Yeah.
fan of yours. I've known him for a gazillion years. Thanks, Teddy. But I
Thank you.
have a really cool comment from Sandy Kovacs, who's one of our regular viewers. And
Mhm.
she is mentioning struggling with ADHD since childhood, didn't get diagnosed until her 40s. And I'm
Mhm.
sure she's not alone in feeling defective. I know anybody who struggled with anything from depression to ADHD to anything else. Can you
Yeah.
speak to feeling defective and how a person can try and get over that?
It's very interesting, and just listen, reading her comment or her question and comment there, it's the fact that a lot of people don't get diagnosed till they're later, and so now they're adults and they're more mature, so they want to have that consistency. They want to know how they can go after things that they're afraid of and things like that. But it's sorry, you just asked me a question and I lost my train of thought.
Sandy was talking about feeling defective,
Oh, feeling
and how because we've all felt defective. If you've got
yeah,
if you've got an issue of some kind, whether it's ADHD or depression or anything else,
yeah,
how do
yeah.
you help people see that they're not defective, that it's just their uniqueness?
It's a uniqueness. It's not them. It's the ADHD. It's similar like when my father had Alzheimer's. I had to keep reminding myself it's not my dad, it's the Alzheimer's, right? So the problem with people with ADHD is they feel defective. They feel like they're not like everyone else. Well, I'm the person that comes in and says, "You're rocking it. You're doing great. Don't feel that way, but let's work on how to make you feel like you're structured and being able to carry through." But it's very interesting because a lot of people, like she just said, they live their lives feeling different, feeling defective, and unfortunately a lot of them really dig themselves into a hole because they give up. And that's why this company that I'm working with is so amazing, because we're pulling those people that have just given up, and we're saying, no, let's do this. I'm going to give you the tools. I'm going to tell you how you can do this. And, let's set, like I said, micro goals instead of macro goals, because people with ADHD have 50 things to do in a day,
Yeah.
So if we cut that down to one or two, because what happens is if you have 50 projects going, you really never get anything done. You never complete them, right? But
Yep.
if you micromanage them and focus in on one or two of the important things, accomplish them, that's when the confidence starts boosting them up and going, yes. So this is what I love about it, is the fact that I'm able to give them tools to not feel different, to not feel, you know like they're alone.
Defective. Defective.
Defective, yeah, or alone, yeah, yeah,
Celebrate the uniqueness for sure. You and
absolutely.
I've talked a lot about sort of your journey with struggling with depression.
Hmm.
So, was there a moment, and also how does it feed into your life coaching business? Do
Oh,
you have the ability to share with your clients that rock bottom moment where you just said, I'm a
yeah,
waste of
yeah.
humanity. I'm a
Well,
waste of a human."
when I went through, my certification and my schooling and everything, a big part of life coaching is, never talk about yourself, things like that. But, a lot of my clients that I'm working with, they know who I am. And some of them are drawn to me because they know my story and what I've been through. And then and only then will I share some things. And the reason that I'm kind of a different bit of a life coach is because I feel sharing and letting that client know, I get you. That's the big thing, is I get you, and this is why, XYZ. And I will pump in, a little bit about what I've been through, because I want them to know that I understand, I've been there, I get it. And that's what, when clients come to me, that's what they want to hear. They want to hear that they're understood and that I get them. Because a lot of people suffer from depression, hyper focus, ADHD, whatever it might be. They really believe no one gets them. So I want to be that person that they can open up to because I get them. And that's all they really need. That's why then they don't feel defective
Yeah,
because somebody is finally getting them and understanding. And that's the most important part about this whole work that I'm doing is I want those clients to be able to go like take a big breath and go, you get me, because the world, we're all isolated right now and everything, but the world is so busy, busy, busy. We're busy being busy. And we feel that people don't take the time to understand other people's issues. And I went through that, because I went through it in a time where it was almost taboo, mental health, right? To talk about. The stigma was at its highest in the 80s. So
absolutely.
yeah. And so now, we're finally opening up and talking, but we're still so busy in our lives. And I'm the person that someone can just take an hour and feel understood. And I work with them and I inspire them and I motivate them and I give them
Yeah.
steps to take. So
It's
I,
so interesting. I often refer to us as human doings.
oh,
And right now
absolutely.
during COVID, we're human beings. We
Yep.
have no
Yep.
choice, right? Tell
Absolutely.
me about this moment. What was going through your head?
So it's kind of an interesting story that I tell people, but that moment wasn't about the medal at all. I joke, I tell people my medal is in my underwear drawer somewhere. I don't even have it out or displayed because I had been through so much and I didn't give up and I fought back. And even with, negative media or whatever I might have been getting. And I just, my life, when I went through that breakdown and the depression, my life took a complete turn and I found me through that situation. And that look on my face and those expressions was literally 100% I did it. And it wasn't about the medal. You know what? PJ, I can be honest, I could have come fifth that night. And if I had skated that good, I still would have had those same reactions because it was about, a life. And I call it my medal in life. I was awarded a medal in life. And my family has always said it's a gold medal of life. And so it means so much more to my family than it would for, let's say, the whole country, right? Because the whole country is part of this medal. All the support and the love and everything I got for so many years. So, I share that victory with the entire country. But for my family, with everything I went through behind closed doors and losing my hair and all quitting skating twice and all that stuff, it was really an emotional, personal victory for me and my family. That's what the expression is.
What I love about you is that you have a great appreciation for language and for words and for what they mean. And I found this on your Facebook page. Can you talk to me about this?
Well, you know what? That is really literally what I live by. The three C's of life: choices, chances, and changes. And, I always say to myself, you must make a choice to take a chance or your life will never change. And that is what I've lived by for so long. And I've been scared to make major changes. I left a marriage that I knew was just not working for me, and I was emotionally a wreck through it. And I have had to make some very tough choices, but I've realized the choices I'm making are chances that have been there, and it's just a great slogan for me to remind myself that it's okay to make changes. It's okay to to take the chance. If we don't take a chance, we don't go forwards. And, I don't want to be one of these people that's sitting back one day going, oh, I should have tried that. I should have gone for that. I've done that once in my life. And you'll never guess when I did that. That time was retiring after Budapest Worlds in 88.
Okay.
Because a lot of people kept saying, because so many people were retiring, and a lot of people were saying, why don't you stay in one more year and win that world title? And at the time I couldn't. We just financially, I couldn't stay in another year. I needed to, my poor
Move
mother.
on.
You know what I mean? But that was, that kind of hung with me for a lot of years. What if I had stayed in one more year? Like, what if, right? But you know what? I've learned to kind of put that at rest. And now I'm learning now, don't look back, look ahead,
Yep.
and take the chances, make those choices, and never be afraid to go after what you want. My husband says to me, my new husband, by the way, because I just said I was divorced. um, he often says to me about this career change that I'm doing. He says, man, he goes, I know why you did so well at Olympics. And I look at him like, why? And he says, because when you go after something,
Yep.
you go after it. And if
Yep.
you fail, you're okay with it. But, but having done it and failing is far better than having not done it and failed.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Speaking of looking back for a second, James Cowling, longtime figure skating journalist and media room guy, he was in the Saddle Dome that night.
Oh,
And you were amazing. You brought the house to its feet. And for those of us who were sitting in our basements, you brought us to our feet too.
thank you. I have to ask James if he's still there. Are they going to? I hear they're tearing the Saddle Dome down.
He's not in Calgary. He lives in England now.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I'm
I
going to
wonder.
find, I will get my best people on it and I will report
No,
back.
I
That
hear.
would be
I'm.
terrible.
I know, but
I
you know
have,
what? I get it. They got to keep buildings up to par, but it has such great memories for me.
of course, of course. Gail Murphy is another longtime sort of viewer and supporter of figure skating. To have experienced issues like mental health and addictions as a coach, it's just like what you said. You're able to say to the client that you really understand firsthand what they're
Yeah,
talking about.
yeah.
And that part is super important. And this one is equally important. Lee, it loves your new hair.
Thank
Me,
you.
me too. It's adorable.
Thank
We
you.
were saying literally seconds before we went live that we're both
Yeah,
really short hair girls. We go into the long hair every so often, but
I know.
seriously, we're
I
short
know.
hair girls. Let's face
I
facts.
keep hearing my mother up in heaven saying, "Cut your hair."
Oh, here we go. James has an answer. He was paying attention.
Yeah. Long time.
Yes, he
They're
thinks
building.
they're building a new stadium. He's from out
I know.
west. Thanks,
Thank you,
James.
James.
So you've got this brand new life. I mean, brand new marriage, brand new everything, brand new career.
Yeah.
What gave you the strength? Is there a moment that you just go, you know what? I'm just going to do it. Like you chose
Um,
the change. What was the
yep.
moment?
The moment was sitting down with this amazing mentor of a life coach, Karen Urquhart, her name is, and she works, with a lot of people in Toronto. And it was by chance. She was a friend of my husband's, and one day he said, because he knew that I was really struggling with a lot of things, and he said you should go have a session with her. And I went, and I kind of hummed and hawed. That was my moment. That was my moment when I went, yeah, I know what I need to do. Now, I've been speaking and loving this speaking and all the things that I've been doing for mental health and, telling my story and stuff like that. And that always kind of worked on that little, I call it my captain inside me saying, this is what you need to be doing. This is what you should be doing, giving back and helping people and things like that. And it wasn't until that was the moment that I had that aha moment. And I signed up in 24 hours and
Wow.
I was a go. And you know what? I first started the courses because I wanted to learn about it and I wanted to kind of be inspired by it. And boy, not only did I become a certified life coach, but it changed my life. All going through it is the same as what a client would be going through it with me. And that was the moment when I knew I had to make some changes. And there was some unhappy people. Like I had to leave the Granite Club in Toronto. I ended up leaving my job there because I just I'm a firm believer, and this is for anybody and everybody listening. I'm a firm believer. You need to be passionate about what you're doing. You're
Yeah,
never
for
going
sure.
to, yeah, you're never going to be successful. You're never going to advance your life. You're never going to feel full and balanced unless you're doing something you're passionate about. And when I started doing so much speaking and, traveling the country and speaking on mental health and all these organizations and everything, I knew that there was something about it. Like I loved it so much. Put me on a stage in front of 1,000 people and I'll talk. And it really motivated me to kind of start thinking about a career change. As a figure skater, you never really want to do a career change. You know what I'm saying? So I'm still going to be doing some coaching, skating coaching, but I'm not going to do it in the lengths of like a Brian Orser, because I don't think that's me. I really don't. I've been coaching for 29 years skating. It's funny because I'm only 29 years old, but
I
anyway,
know.
but I just knew that this was my calling, and it's my life purpose. And my life purpose is to be at peace with myself and to work and help others. And
You,
I finally found it at 55 years old. I have finally found it.
God bless you, 29 years old.
I'm
So
29.
let's talk a little bit about you giving back. This is a photo from Elizabeth Manley and Friends from 2015. I love the sparkles, by the way, but I always do.
Thank you.
And this is another photo that
Mhm.
when I showed it to you, you just were like, "Ah." Tell
Yeah.
me about giving back and how and why that's played such a prominent role in your life.
It's just having gone through the depression. I had a major physical depression. I went bald. Everything. Um, I just really found it was important for me to tell the story. And I wrote a book after the Olympics and I talked about it. And it was interesting because when I got the final copy of my book, half the stuff was taken out.
Wow.
Because, and it was interesting because in that time, they felt it was too much for
Too
people.
dark kind of thing.
Too dark. Yeah. They didn't want to put Canada's sweetheart in the same sentence as mental health. They weren't
Okay.
ready. It wasn't time, right? And
1988.
exactly. And so, for the longest time, I ended up, I kind of didn't talk about it too much and everything. Then all of a sudden, mental health became, a pretty prominent subject in the world. And I finally was able to tell my story. People weren't leaving the room. They weren't scared to talk to me, and they embraced it,
Yep.
instead of fearing the whole term mental health. And so when I was living in Ottawa, I felt like I really wanted to join my two worlds together. And that was to create this amazing skating show with a gala dinner the night before, have my best of friends in the skating world come out and raise awareness and money
Yep.
for mental health. And it was all for the Royal Ottawa in Ottawa. And the first one we did was for Do It for Darren, which is Luke Richardson, who is a very famous hockey player in Ottawa with the Ottawa Sanders. Very sadly, his daughter committed suicide, and it impacted our city so hard. And that was the direction I wanted to go with these shows because I felt like there's only so many dinner galas I can go to and talk. I want to do action. And
Okay.
so this show went 3 years, and my best friend in the entire world, next to you, PJ, Elvis Stoico, he was right behind me. He says, "Yes, let's do it." So those pictures were from the last Elizabeth Manley and Friends, and it was all to raise money. And I do want to share something very, very special that happened to me just this past year. The Royal Ottawa, with all their mental health and everything that they do, the organization, and Daniel Alfredson, Elfie from the Ottawa Sanders, his sister had suffered from mental illness. So he's a big part of the Royal Ottawa. So they had this huge gala on March 9th and or March 6th, I'm sorry, and 900 people at this dinner, and Ben Mulrooney was the host and everything, and I got awarded the Transformational Leader Inspiration Award, which is the highest award that the Royal Ottawa ever gives anybody. And that was a moment, PJ, that it I couldn't even hold back tears because it's so important to me and it's so special to me because I've been through it. And to be recognized in that way was just
Oh,
such an
sure.
honor. Yeah. And my brother went, and I've never seen my brother cry. And he got very emotional because he was just so proud of me. And so it was probably, I hate to say this, but in my life today, that was like another Olympic medal.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
wonderful.
yeah,
Congratulations. And
you.
it's It's very well earned, medal or not. The fact of the matter is, you are an inspiration to people.
Thank you.
I want to switch gears a little bit and I want to talk a tiny bit about social media. You're becoming much more active on social media, certainly on the gram, at Liz Manley 88,
My
and you're also on
dogs and my rock painting and my
right. People can look for Elizabeth Manley on Facebook, at Liz Manley 88 on Twitter and Instagram, and then of
Yep.
course you're also on Cameo. So let's
Cameo.
talk first
Uh-huh.
about what do you think the effect, how would social media have influenced you in 1988 if it had been there?
Oh my God. Do you know we were getting telegrams in 88? Any messages to the athletes came by telegrams. That's how
Did you
fascinating.
save them?
I did. They're all in a photo album, which I plan. I have these massive, they're like 4 foot high newspaper, special albums that I literally spent 4 years putting everything my mother ever collected into these. And I plan to donate them to Skate Canada at some point for their
Oh,
museum.
that's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. But, you know, uh, social media, I'm kind of like this with it, and I'll tell you why. Because I've seen the bad parts of social media. I've seen, you know, our youth being affected with bullying, and we've lost a lot of wonderful young teens from suicide because of social media bullying and things like that. I've experienced twice now bullying on Facebook, and I can't even explain what it did to me. I felt like someone had kicked me in the throat and I couldn't breathe. I was so distraught and I was so upset. And one of these situations happened the night before my charity show.
Oh,
Because,
my.
yeah, a certain individual wanted 25 free tickets, and my tickets were very cheap because I wanted to fill the building, and the cheaper the tickets, the more people, the more money you'll actually make for the charity.
And people who couldn't normally go to a skating show would have been able to go.
Exactly. And so
Yeah.
I said to them, unfortunately, I've just given 200 tickets to underprivileged children and their families
Yep.
as a gift, and I really didn't have anything left. And this person completely just Facebook bullied me to the point where a very famous skater in this world, Randy Gardner, who was doing my choreography, he came to my hotel room at midnight and knocked on the door, and my husband answered, "Has Liz seen Facebook?" And he said, "Keep her away from it." And of course, I heard this and I went right on there. I can't even tell you how horrified I was and how horrible it felt that these lies were spread out there and said about me, because it's just not who I am at all. And it was a real wake up, because my charity, my show, was about bullying and about teen bullying and things like that. And I that affected me so much that that's why I wanted to do another 2 years of this show, because how I felt, I can't even imagine, let's say, a 12-year-old girl experiencing something like that with her schoolmates or something. I can't even imagine. I'm a tough athlete. I got tough skin. I've been to down and
Yep.
back and emotional roller coasters. And the way it affected me, I got the realization of how serious this problem is in the world. And so there is that part of social media that kind of scares me. So my social media, I always just try to be positive and happy, especially during COVID-19. Everybody is pretty, depressed and feeling pretty, awful, being stuck in their homes and things like that. So I always now try to change the perspective of how people are feeling. It's like I'm doing these webinars for skating clubs across Canada. And one of the things I said is, look at this situation as a gift. And the kids kind of go, what? Like, how can, yeah, there we go. And the kids kind of give you this tilt of the head and go, what do you mean? And I'm like, this is a time to have a mental break, have a physical break, write down your goals, take care of yourself, really take this time to know what you want in life, what you want to do in your life. So I was really, kind of life coaching all these kids in these skating clubs, because I want them to know that everybody in the world is going through this right now. It's how you deal with it. And so I was trying to make them understand that this is great. Your body's getting a rest. If you had an injury, you'll be healed. You won't lose anything in skating. Trust me, I've been off multiple weeks at different times, with injuries and that. And this is a great time for you to just be self aware and figure out what you want in life.
It's so interesting. Some of the things that people want in life is a moment to connect with you. And as I alluded to, and is on the bottom screen, Cameo, a brand new
Yeah,
thing that's out there in the world. Tell
I
me
know.
about your involvement.
Well, so my intro thing on Cameo is just, I have spent my entire life being gifted with wonderful notes and letters and fan mail and messages on social media, and everybody has been really good at hugging me and giving me a shout out. And I felt it was time for me to be able to do that. And even though I do a lot of it on Instagram and things like that, Cameo just kind of opens up that door where I can personally do something for someone. So I just got one this morning, for instance, and it's this wonderful girl that's graduating high school from home. And she's a
Like
figure.
everybody.
Yeah, so her parents reached out on Cameo and said, "Could you just send her a, kind of a motivating message?" So it's just another way for me to be able to get into people's homes and to be a part of their lives and to give them a shout out. And there's so many holidays. I did a bunch for Mother's Day. There's a lot of moms out there that still remember me and love me. I'm so sorry. That's my dog barking. I'm sorry.
I'm glad it's your dog and not mine for a change.
Okay.
It's no problem. Cutest puppy ever, by the way, yours.
She's like,
But
"Where's
it's true.
mommy?"
So the Cameo stuff is just basically fun in a
It's
way.
fun. It's fun. So, I've done them for Mother's Day. I've done a couple birthday messages. And how I actually connected with this was my brother turned 60, and they had this massive surprise party for him. And I want to say, I think it was William Shatner. Somebody had a cameo done for him as a gift. And I think it was a big celebrity like William Shatner or something. And I thought, oh, that was cool. And I ended up looking into it. And there's a lot of skaters on there. There's Eric Radford, there's Caitlin Osman, there's myself, there's Nancy Kerrigan. So there's a lot of great skaters on there. And
It
we're a
is.
lot cheaper. We're a lot cheaper. Like Caitlin Jenner is charging 2,500 US for a 30-second message.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, oh my God. Like,
Internet world, I'll do it for half that.
yeah.
And I'll split it with you, Liz. You can be my Cameo
Exactly.
agent. Oh my goodness. This has been such a treat to talk with you. Honestly, I am so, so happy to hear about all of your changes, all of the positive stuff moving forward in your life. It is absolutely outstanding. Is there a message that, my last question, a message that you can leave our youngest viewers with? So the skaters who are hoping to go back to the ice, what can you share with them?
You know, I am the poster child for follow your dreams and
Yep.
believe in them. And I'm constantly saying that to young little skaters. Like, if you have that dream, if you want to be the next Elvis Stoiko or the next Kurt Browning or whoever it may be, um, don't give up on that dream. It happened for me. I'm a little girl from outside of Ottawa, Ontario, that no one thought would ever do it, and I did it. And if you love something enough, you will succeed in it, and to be passionate about it and never give up. And the other message that I want to say is, never, don't ever let anyone say you can't.
Yeah.
That's the
So
most
important.
important, because there's a lot of people out there that will say, no, you'll never do that. You're no good. That done all this. And you know what? We thrive on, you know, we're stimulated with negative opinions and news and things like that. And people will take that negativity. So don't ever listen to what people say. Like, just, if you love something, do it, go for it. You'll be successful.
Okay, I lied. It's not my last question because Teddy Katz, esteemed journalist, came up with a great one. What did you do with your cowboy hat from Calgary?
And my cowboy hat is in the Skate Canada Hall of Fame Museum.
Along
So
with your dress?
no, my dress is in Calgary at the Canada Sports Hall of Fame. But the white hat, And God bless our friend Emery Leger from Skate Canada. When
Yep.
he came to my house, this hat had been in 20 moving trucks, had been thrown in basements. It was everywhere. He comes with white gloves on like he has a Stanley Cup to take my hat. But you know what? I really wanted to donate that to our Canadian skating world, and so it's in the Skating Museum Hall of Fame. Yeah.
One last comment coming from Ryan Stevens, amazing historical blogger for figure skating.
Hi Ryan, I know Ryan.
We
We've
all know Ryan. Just before we go, everybody, I want you to like me on Facebook, PJ Kwong, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. All the life coaching questions go to Liz. Oh, sorry, lifecoachmanley88@gmail.com. And also they can look for you at expertadhdcoaching.com.
Yep.
You're on social media, of course, at
Everywhere.
Liz Manley88 on Twitter and Instagram, Elizabeth Manley on Facebook, and people can find you on Cameo. Whew. And if anybody has any questions, just feel free to reach out to me and I will pass them along to you. And in the meantime, thank you, thank you, thank you. Take your cute
I
hair
love
and enjoy the
it.
rest of your
Thank
day.
you.
Bye for
I
now.
love you.
Love
Bye.
you too. Bye bye.
Bye.